Here are 3 mistakes that prevent any success in SMMA. Let's go right into it. The first, negative people and negative energy. This is one of the biggest and most important ones, and here's why. So, entrepreneurship, SMMA, I continuously say it's just a journey of self-discovery and self-improvement, because at the end of the day, it's really about the journey of who we're becoming. And so that version of yourself right now, you watching this, who is making multi-six figures a month, are they tolerating negative people and negative energy? No, absolutely not. And so any industry leader, they have such high standards and such stringent morals and values that if you are not up to those or above, you cannot be around them. And that's just a fact. And so this entire journey is just adopting the identity of the person you want to become, and then what comes with that. And one of them is, are you going to tolerate these types of people? And it's an absolute no-brainer, absolutely not. And so for you watching this, you might be stuck in a bad environment with around bad people, and energy is contagious. And it's so hard to bring people up to you who are negative as opposed to them bringing you down, which is so much easier, because the way our brains work, they are designed to protect us and to sync onto the same wavelength of whoever's around us. And again, it's much harder to bring someone up to speed than for them to bring you down to speed. And in addition to that, one of the ways our brains works is that everything is designed to protect, it's meant to protect us. That's why changing environments is scary. That's why quitting that job is scary. That's why talking to that girl at that bar might seem scary. And so when you're actually able to understand how the brain works, and when you are faced in the dilemma and stuck between a rock and a hard place of making certain decisions, you have to be extremely self-aware and say to yourself, okay, this is what my brain is telling me, my mind is telling me. I know that this is how it works, but let's just do it anyways. And there's a part of the brain that either shrinks or gets bigger when you're faced with adversity and on how you make certain decisions. And so if you just continuously shy away all the time from difficulty and pain and suffering, that part gets smaller and you just shrink into irrelevance. And that's huge, because most people, they shy away from the difficult things in life, and you look at their lives and they're just living an uncomfortable, they're just living a comfortable life and they aren't happy with where they're at. And so going back to the point of number one is negative people and negative energy. And it's really hard to get out of these environments, to stop being around these people. And I get it. And trust me, I get it. But what I will say is that you have to be aware of how our brain works, and that bringing people up to your level is nearly difficult, is nearly impossible. And so you have to find people with high energy, high integrity, loyalty, and who are more ambitious, more successful than you. And that might seem difficult to get in those groups, but one of the ways you move up a social hierarchy in male groups, guys, this is a fact, is you provide value to them. If you join groups and you have nothing to give, get good at something and be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is the success I've had with it. Here it is. And they're going to appreciate it, because the truth is, most people want to help. Most people at the top, they want to help other people. That's a fact. But the way you move up a social hierarchy in a male group, and especially if it's status driven, which is the online space in general, this is all status driven. That's a fact. People tend to shy away from that stuff, but I'm just saying the truth. You give value to the marketplace. You give value to them. By extension, over time, you can start to make your way into these groups. But again, avoid negative people and negative energy. It's going to bring you down. It's going to make you get the same exact results that you have been getting if you aren't happy with where you're at, because one of the best indicators of predicting the future is to understand the past. And so if you've been doing something for 3 to 4 or 5 months, what do you think is going to happen for the next 3 to 4 or 5 months if you continue doing that? Sales 101. I mean, some people it just blows my mind. Second point, going crazy once you have slight success. Now, this isn't a one-size-fits-all rule. I think point 1 and point 3 are the most applicable and truth. But 2, going crazy once you have slight success. One of the sayings that I live by now is stay small enough for long enough, you'll be big enough soon enough. And I started reading the psychology of money, and I started thinking about how I perceive money differently and where to put my money, as opposed to just blowing it all on stupid shit that could have been reinvested, and I could be really thanking myself in 20 to 25 years. Yes, of course, I know everyone is cash now, cash now, cash now, but it's important to think about that 10, 15, 20-year plan and to kind of set yourself up long term. That's why you hear about all these sports players or people, celebrities, just going dead broke and filing for bankruptcy because they don't have that long-term vision. They just are short-term thinkers, and by extension, they basically just run out of money. And so I also think that certain people or humans in general need to learn lessons the hard way. And yes, we do know that saying, if you're smart, you'll learn from your own mistakes. But if you're wise, you'll learn from the mistakes of others. But I think some information and some lessons can't be taught and can't even be learned by those wise individuals, because I think that's specific knowledge. And I think specific knowledge is what Novel spoke about, which I spoke about 2 videos ago. And specific knowledge is developed and met at the end of knowledge. And what knowledge is simply things that are taught and can be taught in school and by employers. Specific knowledge is met at the end of knowledge. And that's why I think most people have to go through lessons the hard way, because myself included, when I just spent loads of money at the beginning, I could have, now thinking about it, like I could have had an extra couple tens of thousands of dollars just sitting in the S&P 500, compounding at 8-11% a year, whatever it is now. And that is a lesson I learned the hard way. But again, stay small enough, long enough, you'll be big enough soon enough. Be a lot smarter with your money. And I think, yes, of course, you want to be abundant, but I think it's really important to kind of have that long-term vision as opposed to just short-term pleasures. But that's just where I'm coming from. Third, ego. Like I spoke about many times on this channel, guys, in the first 3 months of doing the marketing agency, I made a little bit more than $1,000. That's it. And so like I spoke just earlier on this video, what's the best indicator of predicting the future is to understand what happened in the past. And so I was like, okay, Marco, you're not stupid. You're a pretty self-aware kid. For the past 3 months, it's yielded in this outcome. What do you think's going to happen if I stick doing this for the next 3 to 4 months? Obviously, the exact same outcome. And the truth is, that was my ego. And the truth is, you watching this, ego is preventing you from learning, from becoming who you want to become. You have to become a student of markets. Success leaves clues, as we all know. And one of those clues is those individuals at the top of those individuals who are industry leaders. One of the things they preach is just being coachable, having a mindset of just being a student and just constantly learning from both sides of the coin and then making your own conclusions from there. And that's an extremely important thing. And now, in addition to that, ego, what I will say about like courses and mentorships, the truth is, like, not much is free. I don't think many things are free. And if you are giving something for free, that's a lead magnet. That's a lead magnet to suck you in, to give you value, and then to hopefully have you go from top of funnel to bottom of funnel on their content, and then of course end up buying something. For example, Luke Belmar had this isn't bad, this is good, it's a good lead magnet, had a meetup in Dubai roughly 2.5 weeks ago, which I thought I was going to go to, and then I changed the plans, signed up for it, it was free. A week later, I got an email saying, hey Marco, thank you for being there. Here's a VIP dinner, $1,000. And so that's a lead magnet. Whatever you guys think is for free isn't. There's an agenda behind most things if they're selling something. Okay, that's the truth. But also, real sauce in agency space or SMMA or any endeavor, you have to, they're in courses. You can, of course, learn as much as you can from free value and books online. I get it, but you need a blueprint. You need to copy and paste someone. And then once you copy and pasted to the T, you then you iterate and make your own and make better. And I will say again, guys, like most people who are stuck is because they have egos, and I think it is truly the enemy. Like quite honestly, like yes, of course, we all do have egos once we start making money, and I get that. But I do think that in the beginning, for the first 2, 3, 4 years of any new endeavor, you have to become a student and shut up and listen and learn. That's it. And so I kind of hope these 3 points help put some things into perspective. The second point I will say is a little flexible, but I think you should just go and spend just to see if you enjoy it or not. But I hope these lessons were of value, and I'll see you in the next. All right.